A lot of people think their horses don't like them just because their horses exhibit certain behaviors, whether it's like a bad behavior like bucking them off or dragging them, or it's like an avoidance behavior, like they just don't really want to be around them. They think that their horses don't like them. The truth of the matter is, horses don't really think that way, and it's not like humans where we don't like someone because we can rationalize their behaviors towards us and things like that. Horses are prey animals. That means that they're just naturally very untrusting, and you have to take the time to get to know them and build the trust. And so what you may think is your horse not liking you, what it really is just the horse being iffy of you until they can build that connection with you. The good news is, if you're willing to put in the time and the energy, you can build trust with your horse and you can get them to like you. I want to pinpoint certain behaviors in your horse and what you can do to counteract them. So starting off, let's talk about the behavior of horses being herd bound. They don't want to go with you, they don't want to be caught, and maybe they just really seem disinterested in engaging with you, like they walk away, they don't want to be around you and things like that. The best solution for this type of problem is to make sure your horse is having a fun and enjoyable time when they're out with you. We're here with Ruach. He eats in this little paddock and there's a lot of good grass in here. And so every time I try to catch him in here, he does not want to be caught because he wants to continue to eat. But let's see. Oh, that was pretty good, Ru. Usually he kind of runs around. A herd-bound horse is a horse that wants to stay with their buddies. So it makes it really hard for them to be taken out, because when you take them away from their herd, they're constantly looking around and neighing, and they may even want to like run back to their pasture. The easiest solution I have found for this behavior is taking your horse out to feed them. Food is easily the most enjoyable thing for horses, and so that is one great way to start showing your horse that it's actually not a bad thing to come out and away from their herd, because if they come out and they get to eat, they're quickly going to learn coming out isn't a bad thing. Especially if you're in a situation where you only have 2 or 3 horses, it's going to be very vital that you work on this with your horses, because with that smaller herd, that means the bond is even going to be more strong between them. And if you take one out, the other horses may get riled up. And so with only 2 horses here, I have Tucker and Ruach, I make sure that I separate them quite often, whether it's just to eat or if I'm taking Tucker out on the trail ride, and that way they just get used to it. And Ruach here is a baby, and so he's been doing this training ever since I got him. And so to him, he has no problems with being left alone now since we started him so young with it. Another thing you can do to help your horse like to go with you places and leave their herd is to find something fun for them. So a lot of times we just get our horses out, we just do the same thing every single day. We'll get on, go to the arena, ride around, but we just don't ever really do anything fun for them. I like to find what my horses like to do. So for example, Tucker loves to trail ride. Ruach here is a baby, so he doesn't really get ridden, but he does love to play with this ball. Other behaviors that may make people think that their horse doesn't like them are behaviors like the horse pushing you around, constantly running into you with their shoulders, dragging you around, or maybe the horse just has a hard time paying attention and you just feel like they're constantly disfocused on what you're asking them to do. What these horses need is for you to set boundaries. So horses are prey animals, and that means they're constantly going to be looking for danger. And what boundaries do are boundaries helps them know what to expect. You set the expectation of this is how you personally are going to respond in this situation, and so this is what the horse can expect. And when the horse knows what to expect, they know what's going to happen and they feel safer. A great place to start when it comes to establishing boundaries is to establish your own boundary with your horse. So that what that means is I want my horse to learn where the boundary of my personal space is. This is going to keep you safe, it's going to keep your horse engaged, and also respecting where you are to where you're not in danger. Ruach here is a baby and he naturally just likes to test the waters like babies do. And so we are constantly working on establishing boundaries with him. And so that just means I need him to move away from pressure when I apply it. So that's really where you're going to start with this training, is just getting your horse to respect pressure and also getting your horse to move around you. Back up. Good boy. So if you want more of a breakdown on this, I do have more YouTube videos about simple exercises you can do with your horse to start building boundaries. I'll link those in the description. On my online course platform, I also have online courses about groundwork that are super simple to start establishing boundaries. So I'll link that as well. The next horse behaviors I want to cover is if your horse is constantly anxious around you, constantly fidgeting, and they just really seem scared. This can look like a horse that's very spooky at everything, like it's hard to go trail riding with them because they want to spook all the time. It's a horse that can get very anxious if you take them into the stable or they're tied up. So I wanted to share some things you can do with your horse to help them gain more trust in you, because overall trust is going to help them feel safer. Trust is an essential part to helping your horse feel more comfortable around you. And once your horse feels more comfortable around you, it's going to seem like they actually like you. By nature, horses are very untrusting, and that just comes with being a prey animal and a flight animal. So what you're going to do by building trust with them is show them that they are in a safe environment and they can be calm and comfortable. The two biggest things you can do to help build trust with your horse is, number one, be consistent. Work with them every day or as much as you can. Don't try to work with them for long periods of time, but rather work for short periods of time, but more sessions. So for example, if you can get 3 or 4 sessions in a day and each session is like 10 minutes, that's actually better for your horse compared to just working with them for 4 hours a day. Consistency helps your horse know what to expect, and that overall is going to help them feel safer. The most vital thing you can do in building trust with your horse is to regulate your own emotions. What I mean by that is your emotions actually create a reaction in your body that you may be unaware of. For example, if you are sitting on your horse and you're getting nervous, you're just naturally going to tense up through your arms and tense onto the reins, and in turn that's going to communicate down to your horse's mouth that you're tense. And what that speaks to your horse is that they should be anxious and nervous. So a lot of times if you are constantly feeling nervous or anxious or scared to work with your horse, they are definitely picking up on that. The best thing you can do is, number one, try to kind of take your emotions out of the situation where you want to be an objective observer. What that means is you're able to take in the situation and respond without your emotions dictating your response. So like I said before, a lot of people may think their horse doesn't like them, but in reality what's happening is they're not aware of how their body is communicating to their horses. They're letting their emotions dictate their response, which in turn causes a negative effect with your horse. So if you want to learn more about building trust with your horse, this is just one massive stepping stone. There's very simple groundwork exercises that gives you and your horse the opportunity to communicate with each other face to face and things like that. So I have an online course that lays it all out for you. How to build trust with your horse. Here are some things you need to keep in mind. Here's very simple groundwork exercises, and I walk you through it step by step. So if you're interested in that course, it's how to gain and maintain your horse's trust, and I will put the link in the description to that course, and it's at shop.equinehelper.com.